Hello guys. I'm tired as crap, bro. What's good though? I barely woke up in time. We got 5 minutes. Like 5 minutes. Is there any non I'm gonna put on some hyper potions. Hyper potions is always the safe pick for streamer music, right? What's good, K Hearts, Valor, Zombie, Blazing Sora, Yeet Skeet, Adam, Travi, SBJ, Psy6, I think I said her name right, Tyree, Supreme, K Hearts, Shakia, Moogle Nerd. What's good, guys? Welcome to the live stream. Welcome to the PS5 reveal. I don't know what type of reveal this is gonna be because this is a weird year for gaming. I mean, gaming's doing fine for the most part. We might be seeing a lot of delays. E3's canceled, and we expect a lot of major console reveals then. So maybe we will get some console reveals here. Who freaking knows? The hype going into this event is solely just seeing the PS5 and knowing whether it's backwards compatible or not. That's what I want to know personally. The second most hype thing is, I don't know if you guys are aware, right? Ignore my squeaking of my mic arm, but I just want to say that
Azula is an amazing character.
At every, I'm sorry, I'm gonna call, but at every single console reveal, Square Enix has revealed a mainline game. They did it with the PS2, they did it with the PS3. They did it with the 3DS. They did it with the PS4 with Kingdom Hearts 3. 3DS was Dream Drop Distance, I believe. They also did it with the PSP. I believe I forget what it was for the PS2. What was it for the What was it for the PS3? No, I don't think it was anything for the PS3. No, I think it was 13 for the PS3, wasn't it? I think it was 13 or versus 13. That was the attempted thing for PS3. PS2, I think it was. I forget. I think what's KH1 revealed when PS2 was about to launch. I don't know. I know it didn't come out at launch, but I know it was getting revealed. But you get the point. Square Enix has they've always showcased a mainline game at the launch or near the launch of a console. You know what I mean? We should get ready to get right into this though. Alright. Alright, I'm calling my friend Jaden because the call I was previously is too chaotic. Oh boy, I don't know. I don't think I'm gonna put on any music right now.
Yeah, I saw that call was going on. I'm like, nah, bro. I can already hear the yelling now.
It's because that boy's in, it's because he's in the general chat of his server. But
Too wild.
Just a little bit.
60 seconds.
Yeah. Honestly, what do you care about the most, Dan? For me, all I care about is knowing if it's. I want to see what it looks like, and I want to know if it's backwards compatible. That's the main thing I care about.
I don't think I'll talk about that, but
I hope
they said this is 53 minutes, so there's gonna be a lot of boring filler.
53 minutes, okay. Dude, I'm not expecting any major game reveals or anything, but E3 is canceled this year, so who knows what's gonna happen.
Because now would be the time to start showing us stuff. This is coming out during November.
Yeah. You know, Square always shows something for a new console. They always do. They're the main people that drop their name in the hat. Because they are console sellers. Remember what they did with KH3?
Oh, this is a premiere. Ugh.
Yeah.
Dang, bro. We gotta watch that stupid premiere thing, that countdown. I hate that so much.
I bought my PS4 just at the end of 2020. Too bad I'm only going to buy the PS5 5 years from now. Really? That's crazy. Well, me as a content creator, I'm probably gonna. I'm definitely getting the PS5. I already have a Switch. I feel like I might as well get an Xbox Series X because I don't want to be. I mean, this generation, I mean, I've played the Xbox One. This generation, I never owned the Xbox One. I don't want to be completely ignorant when talking about the Xbox. I want to at least have some sort of knowledge, and I want to at least have the console, you know, because I don't hate the Xbox One. This doesn't have as many games. But as a gamer, I would like to have like all the consoles, you know. I have my good PC too, so I'm fine on that spectrum. Okay, what was that? All right, there we go.
It's the thing.
Premiering now. Oh, I'm watching this through YouTube.
So am I.
I saw someone on Twitter. I think it was Nakeem. He said, "Little Big Planet 4, baby, let's go."
You mean Dreams?
Yeah. If you got a Little Bit Planet, I don't think they'd make a Little Bit Planet 4 because Dreams exist, and also because Little Bit Planet's a dead franchise.
I tried that Charles Amana demo a little bit. That game kind of cool.
Ooh. I've been thinking about getting the new Xbox and the PS5. If I wanted depth, I would have played Animal Crossing. I personally plan to just keep my PS4 for now. Probably won't consider a PS5 to a year or two after release. I mean, that's understandable. For me, there's not too crazy of a reason to not. Well, okay, I'd say the best reason to not get a console at launch is to not deal with the launch issues of a console, like with the PS4, for example, how I had the cooling issue because I think it was like the first like 3 batches of PS4s like had a cooling issue that they didn't fix until like a year later. Those are benefits of like not getting launch consoles, but outside of that, really, like, I mean, it's a well-worthy investment for me. I know first thing I'm doing definitely when I get a PS5 is I'm probably going to play KH3 on PS5, so yeah. And they're probably going to have I think, because like this year, there's a lot of games coming out this year, don't get me wrong, but like the last like 2 years, last year I had a decent amount of heavy hitters too, but like a lot regarding exclusives, most of the heavy hitters were 2018. Yeah, I see. So like I feel like launches are going to be pretty good this time around. Like in the PS3 era, they released all their exclusives like in the last couple months before the PS4 came out, which was weird. All right, let's go.
Hi. Unfortunately, we had to cancel the talk that we had planned for GDC. But we do have some super exciting news about PS5, and who better to bring that to you than the one and only Mark Cerny. Without further ado, over to you, Mark.
Well, they just started.
There will be lots of chances.
Why does it look like you're in front of a green screen?
5 games.
Probably are.
Today, I want to talk a bit about our goals for the PlayStation 5 hardware and how they influenced the development of the console. I think you all know I'm a big believer in console generations. Once every 5 or 6 or 7 years, a console arrives with substantially new capabilities. There's a lot of learning by the game developers, hopefully not too overwhelming, and soon there's games that could never have been created before. Now, it used to be that as a console designer, you'd somehow intuit what would be the best set of capabilities for the new console, and then build it in complete secrecy. For the PlayStation consoles, that period lasted through PlayStation 3, a powerful and groundbreaking console, but also one that caused quite a lot of heartache, as it was initially difficult to develop games for. So, starting with PlayStation 4, we've taken a different approach, roughly centered around 3 principles. The first of these is listening to the developers, which is to say that a lot of what we put into a console derives directly from the needs and aspirations of the game creators. We definitely do have some ideas of our own, but at the core of our philosophy for designing consoles is that game players are here for the fantastic games, which is to say that game creators matter. Anything we can do to make life easier for the game creators or help them realize their dreams, we will do. So, about once every 2 years, I take a tour of the industry. I go to the easier for the game creators or help them realize their dreams, we will do. So, about once every 2 years, I take a tour of the industry. I go to the various developers and publishers, sit down, and discuss how they're doing with the current consoles
talk about the
and what they'd like
PS4
to
for a
see
while,
in
huh?
future consoles. This requires weeks on the road, as reaching the bulk of the game creators involves talking to well over 100 people at something like 24 publishers and developers. And it is incredibly valuable. By the way, the feature most requested by the developers, that was an SSD, which we were very happy to put in the hardware, but a lot of problem solving was required. I'll be doing a deep dive on the SSD and surrounding systems later on in this talk. It's also key to make a generational leap while keeping the console sufficiently familiar to game developers. I think about this in terms of balancing evolution and revolution. Now, with PlayStation 1, 2, and 3, the target was a revolution each time with a brand new feature set. That was great in many ways, but time for the developers to get up and running got longer with each console. In the past, I've called this time to triangle. Here's what I had for those 3 consoles. To be clear, I'm not talking about time to make a game. Developers will be ambitious, and it may take them 6 years or so to realize their vision. What I'm talking about is that dead time before graphics and other aspects of game development are up and running, and trying to minimize that. On the other hand, if we're trying to reduce that dead time to 0, that means the hardware architecture can't change at all. We're handcuffed. We need to judge for each feature what value it adds and whether it's worth the increase in developer time needed to support it. So with PlayStation 4, we were able to strike a pretty good balance between performance and familiarity. We got required learning back to PlayStation 1 levels. With PS5, the GPU was definitely the area we felt the most tension between adding new features and keeping a familiar programming model. Ultimately, I think we ended up with something under a month of getting up to speed. That feels like we're striking about the right balance. I'll go into a bit more detail later today about our philosophy with the GPU and the specific feature set that resulted from it. It's also very important for us, as the hardware team, to find new dreams, by which I mean something other than CPU performance, GPU performance, and the amount of RAM. The increase in graphics performance over the past 2 decades has been astonishing, but there are other areas in which we can innovate and provide significant value to the game creators, and through them, the players. That's why the SSD was very much on our list of directions to explore, regardless of what came out of the conversation.
It looks like a green screen. That's gotta be fake.
The biggest feature in this category is the custom engine for audio. That's today's final topic. The push for vastly improved audio, and in particular 3D audio, isn't something that came out of the developer meetings. It's much more the case that we had a dream of what might be possible 5 years from now, and then worked out a number of steps we could take to set us on that path. So here again are the 3 principles, the first being enabling the desires of developers to drive the hardware design. To me, the SSD really is the key to the next generation. It's a game changer. And it was the #1 ask from developers for PlayStation 5. As in, we know it's probably impossible, but can you put an SSD in it?
Them load times
that was a discussion we were also having internally. It was clear that the presence of a hard drive in every PlayStation 4 was having a positive impact. A lot of things that would simply have been impossible at Blu-ray disc speeds were now possible.
They optimize their game correctly.
In 2015 and 2016, when we were having these conversations, developers were already banging up against the limits of the hard drive. And a lot of developer time was being spent designing around slow load speeds. I want to focus in on just one number here, which is how long it takes to load a gigabyte of data from a hard drive. The difficulty being that hard drives are neither particularly fast nor flexible. If all your data is in one block, which is frankly not very likely, you can load 50 to 100 megabytes a second, depending on where the data is located on the hard drive. Let's assume it's on the outer edge, which means loading a gigabyte takes 10 seconds. If you compress your game packages, you can fit more data on the Blu-ray disc and also effectively boost your hard drive compression ratio. We support zlib decompression on PlayStation 4 that gets you something like 50% more data on the disc and 50% higher effective read speed.
100 people are here listening to this dude.
It's highly likely that your data is scattered around in various files on the hard drive.
I just woke up too, so this is not helping me stay awake.
So lots of seeks are needed at 2 to
I don't think we're going to see what it looks like.
My rule of thumb is that the hard drive is spending 2/3 of its time seeking, and only a third of its time actually loading data.
I think they're just going to
Putting all of that together, a gigabyte is very roughly 20 seconds to load from a hard drive.
People about to be mad then.
A gigabyte is not much.
They were mad the last time.
Games are using 5 or 6 gigabytes of RAM on PlayStation 4, so boot times and load times can get pretty grim. Or to put that differently, as a player, you wait for the game to boot, wait for the game to
chat
load,
is just a bunch of Z's.
Wait for the level to reload every time you die, and you wait for what is euphemistically called fast.
I don't know, this thing's like apparently
all of that
almost
leads to the dream.
hour.
What if we could have not just an SSD, but a
I don't know
blindingly
if I can
fast
do this
SSD?
for an hour.
If we could load 5 gigabytes
I
a
don't know if I
second
can
from
either.
it, what would change? Now, SSDs are completely
Dang, bro, this
different from
game
hard
look good.
drives. They don't have seeks as such. If you have
Are you
a
playing
5
Trials of
gigabyte a
Mana?
second SSD,
Yeah, this
you
game
can
look
read
good.
data from 1,000 different locations in that second.
Rebellion,
Pretty
you
much
can
at
do
speed.
it, bro. I'm gonna try it.
As for time to load a gigabyte, this is next gen.
Hey, if
we're
you guys
talking
wanna
about.
keep
So
me awake,
memory is bigger. Instead, we
you
should
should,
be asking
donate
how long
money
to
to the
load
stream.
2 gigabytes.
joking.
And the
game's
answer is
different. You
about
get to
a
pick your
quarter
main
of a
characters.
second. I mean, that's amazing. We're talking
Oh,
2
tired.
orders of magnitude,
Alright.
meaning very roughly
You should play that on stream.
100 times faster.
I might. I actually
Which
consider
means
playing
at
Trials
5
of Mana on
gigabytes a
stream.
second for the SSD, the potential is that the game boots in a second. There are
Right.
no load screens. The game just fades
The
down. while
combat's
loading
like
a half dozen gigabytes and fades back up
very,
again.
very
Same for a
Diet
reload. You're
Kingdom
immediately
Hearts.
back in the action after
Yeah,
you die.
that's the main reason I
And
was interested.
fast
'Cause it looked
travel
like an
becomes so
action
fast
game.
it's blink and you miss it. As game creators, we go from trying to distract the player from how long fast travel is taking, like those Spider-Man subway
Alright, bro,
rides,
what's the
to being
primary
so
reason?
blindingly fast that we might even have to slow that transition down. Pretty cool, right? But for me, this is not the primary reason to change from a hard drive to an SSD. The primary reason for an ultra-fast SSD is that it gives the game designer freedom. Or to put that differently, with a hard drive, the 20 seconds that it takes to load a gigabyte.
How many
can
seconds will
sabotage
Skyrim take to
the
load on
game that the designer
PS5?
is trying to create.
2.
I think almost all of us in the room have experienced this, maybe in different ways. Say we're making an adventure game and we have 2 rich environments where we each want enough textures and models to fill memory, which you can do as long as you have a long staircase or elevator ride or a windy corridor where you can ditch the old assets and then take 30 seconds or so to load the new assets. Having a 30-second elevator ride is a little extreme. More realistically, we
John's
probably
like, "Jack
chop
and
the world
Dexter."
into a number of small
That's
pieces
what I'm like
and
right
then
now,
do some
bro. They
calculations
did
with
that.
sight
Ooh.
lines and run speeds like we did for Haven City when we were making Jak 2. The game is 20 years old, but not much has changed.
Oh, yo, Jak 2! Whoa, whoa,
All
whoa! I
those
just think I
twisted
thought you were
passages are
tripping.
there for a reason.
Hold up.
No.
There's a whole
I'm
subset of
behind,
game
dog.
design dedicated to this sort of work.
I'm gonna
but
refresh so I
still,
can be up to date to you.
So when I talked about the dream of an SSD, part of the
Jak
reason
4,
for that 5
baby!
gigabyte a second
They
target was
mentioned
to
Jak.
eliminate loads, but also
We
part of
exist,
the reason
boys.
for that target
I'm a
was streaming. As in, what if the SSD is so fast that as the player is turning around, it's possible
Why do we need to
load
know
textures
this?
from
People have
everything
been
on the
asking about
player
this
in that
stuff.
split second.
As boring
If you
as it
figure
is,
that it takes half a second to turn,
presentation-wise,
that's 4
people have been
gigabytes of
asking
fresh
about
data
this
you can
stuff.
load. That
It's
sounds
about to get
about
slandered
right
on
for
Twitter.
next gen. Anyway, back to the hard drive. Another strategy for increasing
see it
effective read
already.
speed is to make big sequential chunks of data. For example, we might group all the data together for each city block. That removes most of the seeks, and the streaming is fast. But
shit,
there's a
I'm
downside
yawning.
too, which is
Whoa.
that frequently used data is included in many chunks and therefore is on the hard drive many, many times. Marvel's Spider-Man uses this strategy, and though it works very well for increasing the streaming
I
speed,
need to figure out ways to spice
there's
this
a
up. 'cause
massive duplication as a result. Some of
You
the
can't-
objects like mailboxes
that
or
shouldn't
news
be your
racks are on
job.
the hard drive
I want
400
entertained,
times.
but I
What I'm
also know people want to
describing here
listen
are
to
things
this.
that cramp a creative
And
director's
yeah, otherwise
style.
people won't start.
Either
I'm
level
sorry.
design gets a little bit
start
boring
playing the
in places,
American Dad
or
thing.
the data is duplicated so many times that it no longer fits on the Blu-ray disc. And you end up with hard limits on the player's run speed or driving speed. The player can't go faster than the load
Yeah,
speed from the
that's
hard
true.
drive. And finally, I'm sure many of you
To be honest, this
noticed
is
that after a
interesting.
patch,
It is
the
interesting. It is
PlayStation 4 will
interesting. This
sometimes
the dude's
forgo
just
to
talking very
install the
like
patch.
mono.
That's because when just part of a file has been
I won't
changed,
say that,
the
but
new data
he's like
is now
speaking
like-
very
it's like
like
he's reading me a
quietly,
book.
like
before the
yeah.
game boots up, a brand new file has to be constructed that includes the changed
Feel like
portion.
I'm in school listening to the
Otherwise,
audio
every
book or
change
something.
Definitely
will
feel like I'm in
miss
school.
or two. Even so, you can occasionally see this happening on game titles.
Reading
They
Hatchet
start
Dog
to hitch
audio
once
book.
They get patched enough.
Yo,
SSD,
I remember reading that.
No seats, so no need
That
to
book
make
was
brand
kinda
new
lit.
files with the changes
Oh, it was
incorporated
kinda lit.
into them, which means no install.
Jak 4 help any any of you wake up, John.
There's yet one more benefit, which is that system memory can be used much more efficiently. On PlayStation 4,
It's because people
game
are
data
worried
on a
every
hard
console
drive
that they're
feels
not
very
going to be up to
distant
par with
and
PC,
difficult
but
to
they never
use.
really
By
are.
the time you realize you need a piece of data,
But closing
much
the
too late
gap's
to go out and
important,
load
even
it.
though the
So
gap's
system
only going
memory
to
has
widen
contain
as
all of
the
data that could be
console
used in the
as
next
the
30
console
seconds
lives.
or so of gameplay. That means a lot of the 8
sounds
gigabytes
good,
of
bro.
system
Yeah,
memory
PS4 and
is
Xbox One were
idle. It's just
pretty
waiting there
behind
to
like
be
PC,
potentially
to be
used.
honest with you.
On PlayStation 5,
Yeah, the
though,
problem
the
trying to
SSD
catch
is
up with
very
PC
close
is
to
like
being
freaking
like
new
more
hardware
RAM.
comes out like
Typically,
every
it's fast
8
enough that
months.
when you realize you
Like
need a
where the
PC,
Xbox
you
Series
can just
X,
load
not
it
Series
from
X,
the
where the
SSD and
Xbox
use it. There's
One
no need
X
to have
like
lots of
is
data parked in
is where
system memory
like
waiting to
PC
potentially
was
be
by
used.
the time like
A
PS4 and
different way of
Xbox
saying
released.
that is that most of RAM is working on the game's behalf. This is one of the reasons that 16 gigabytes of GDDR6 feels right for PlayStation 5.
I remember Fox
The
and
presence
Socks.
of the
Remember
SSD
what?
reduces the need for a
I don't know
massive
what that is.
intergenerational
I don't
Wait,
know
what?
that is
increase in size.
Wait, what you say?
So
No load
back to the
screens,
dream of the
ultra
SSD.
high speed
Here's the
streaming.
set of targets. Boot the
But how
game in a
big is
second.
the SSD? That's what
No
I'm
load screens.
interested in.
Design
like a
freedom,
whole
meaning
7
no twisted
seconds ahead of me.
passages or long corridors. More game on the disk,
Be like
and more
that,
game
though.
on the SSD.
The SSD
finally,
better be a
Those
terabyte.
patch installs go away. The reality, though, is that the SSD is just one piece of the puzzle. There's a lot of places where bottlenecks can occur in between the SSD and the game code that uses the data. You can see this on PlayStation 4. If I use an SSD
They're
with
like
10
building up
times
to
the speed of a
something,
standard
I
hard
guess.
drive, I probably
hope.
see
It's 53
only
minutes,
double
so-
the loading speed.
Mm-hmm.
If
Been
that.
14.
For PlayStation 5, our goal was not just that the SSD itself be 100 times faster. It was that
God
game
of War,
loads
yeah,
and
yeah.
streaming would be 100 times faster. So every single potential
Page
bottleneck
3 on
needed to be
PS5,
addressed.
no
And there
loads,
are a lot of them.
baby.
Let's look at check-in and what happens when its overhead gets 100
Game
times
needs to
larger.
refinement.
Conceptually, check-in is a pretty simple process. Data is loaded into system memory from the hard drive or SSD. It's examined. A few values are tweaked to check it in, and then it's moved to its final location. At the SSD speeds we're talking about, that last part, moving the data, meaning copying it from one location to another,
How long is
Imagine
this
all
going to
this
be?
just
an
BS.
entire
A
next-gen
decent
CPU
length,
core.
not gonna lie.
And that's just the tip of the iceberg. If all the overheads get 100 times larger, that will cripple the frame rate as soon as the player moves and that massive stream of data starts coming off the SSD. So to solve all of that, we built a lot of custom hardware, namely a custom flash controller and a number of custom units in
Show
our
me that
range.
controller.
The flash controller in the SSD was designed
Bro,
for
we're nowhere
smooth
near
and
talking about a
bottleneck-free
controller.
operation, but also with games in mind. For example, there are
We're
6
on the
levels of
SSD.
priority when reading from the SSD. Priority is very important. You can imagine the player heading into some new location in the world and the game requesting a few gigabytes of textures. And while those textures are being loaded, an enemy is shot and has to speak a few dying words. Having multiple priority levels lets the audio for those dying words get loaded immediately. On one side, that flash controller connects to the actual flash dies that supply the storage. To reach our bandwidth target of 5
Alright, this
gigabytes a
presentation's
second, we ended up
mid-dog.
with a 12-channel interface. 8 channels wouldn't be enough. The
I had a
resulting
feeling.
bandwidth
I'm
we achieved
sleeping.
is actually 5.5
Hey,
Bleach got an anime,
gigabytes a
though.
second. With a 12-channel interface, the most
Yaya
natural
was
size
getting
that emerges for
slandered.
an SSD is 825
And he was
gigabytes.
roasting
The
Bleach
key
all that
question for
time.
us was,
Mm-hmm.
is that
There when
enough?
it was announced
It's
last
tempting
night.
to add more, but Flash certainly doesn't come cheap, and we have a responsibility to our gaming audience to be cost-effective with regards to what we put in the console. Ultimately, we resolved this question by looking at the play patterns of a broad range of gamers. We examined the specific games that they were playing over the course of a weekend or a week or a month, and whether that set of games would fit properly on the SSD.
I'll spend 20 minutes
We were
later
able
talk
to
about the
establish
PS5
that the
logo
friction
design.
caused by reinstalled or re-downloads would
You
be
might,
quite
you're
low.
right.
I
And
can't
so we
believe they
locked
revealed
in
that
on
logo like it was something
825
new.
gigabyte size, while also
Hey, people
preparing
went
multiple
crazy over it, though,
strategies
for
so that
some reason.
Those who want more storage can add it. I'll go through the details in a moment.
I saw
Back
memes
to the
about
flash
it.
controller. On the other side, it connects
Like,
to our
dang,
main
what did y'all
custom chip
expect?
via 4 lanes of Gen 4 PCIe. And inside the main custom chip is a
325
pretty
gigabytes,
hefty
huh?
unit dedicated to I/O. Before we talk about what that does, let's talk compression for a moment. PlayStation 4 used zlib as its compression format. We decided to use it again on PlayStation 5, but on my 2017 tour of developers, I learned about a new format called Kraken from Rad Game Tools. It's like zlib's smarter cousin. Simple, similar types of algorithms, but about 10%
This is
better
about what I was
compression, which is
expecting so
pretty
far.
big. That means 10%
Understandable.
more game on the UHD Blu-ray disc or on the SSD. Kraken had only been out for a year, but it was already becoming a de facto industry standard. Half of the teams I talked to were either using it or getting ready to evaluate it. So we hustled and built a custom decompressor into the I/O unit. One capable
Looks like
of
my
handling
Lego
over
adventure
5
days are over.
gigabytes
All right,
Kraken format
I'm gonna present you
in
guys a question. What is your most
After
wanted
decompression,
game on the
that typically
PlayStation
becomes
5?
8 or 9 gigabytes, but the unit itself is capable of outputting as much as
Try to
22
Q&A the chat.
gigabytes a second if the data happen to compress particularly well. By the way, in terms of performance, that custom decompressor equates to 9 of our Zen 2
Cage
cores.
5.
That's
Just
what it
gonna
would
skip
take to
Cage
decompress
4,
the
Verum
Kraken
Rex,
stream.
whatever else coming out.
Just
There's a lot more in the custom I/O unit, including
Final
a
Fantasy
dedicated
16,
DMA
Devil May Cry
controller. The game
6,
can direct
Elder Scrolls
exactly
6.
where it wants to send the data coming off of the
Yeah, Elder
SSD.
Scrolls 6 is a
This
thing.
equates to
Tekken
another
8.
Zen 2 core or 2 in terms of its copy performance. Its primary
Yeah.
What
purpose
about
is to run
exclusive
the
games,
check-in
not
as a
third-party games?
And across HD
There's
3D
2 dedicated
remaster,
I/O
Persona
coprocessors
6.
and a large RAM pool. These aren't Zen 2 cores. They're there principally to
Naruto
direct
Ultimate
Spider-Man
Ninja
2.
game.
hardware around.
Y'all about to get a Bleach
One of
Storm.
the processors is dedicated to SSD
Bleach
I/O.
Storm, don't say
This
that.
lets
That sounds
us
terrible.
bypass traditional
No, dog, that's
file
what they
I/O
about to
and its
do.
bottlenecks when reading from the SSD. The other is responsible for memory mapping,
Breath of
which
Fire
I know
remake, what's
doesn't
that?
sound like anything related
It's
to the
a old
SSD,
RPG.
but a lot of
You can play it
developers
on the
map and
SNES
remap
thing.
memory as part of file I/O,
interesting.
and this too can become
Spider-Man
a problem.
PS5. You don't need
There
no
are
Spider-Man
coherency
PS5.
engines to assist
PlayStation
with
All-Stars.
development.
There we go. Shabazz
Coherency
with the
comes up
heat.
a lot in places. Probably the biggest coherency issue
shut
is
up.
stale data in the GPU caches.
We don't need another
Flushing all of the
Spider-Man
GPU
PS4 was
caches
good,
whenever the
but
SSD is read is
I want another
an
superhero.
unattractive option. It could really hurt the GPU performance.
it was a
Nah,
Thor
we-
game.
We,
We've
we need
implemented
a
a gentler
sequel
way
to
of
Spider-Man
doing
PS2
things,
the way that.
where the
ended.
coherency
Yeah,
engines
Thor
inform
game.
the
I
GPU
want Thor
of the
PS4.
overall
I don't want
average
no
ranges,
Thor game.
and custom
Bro, Thor was
scrubbers
my
in
favorite
several
superhero
dozen
as a
GPU
kid.
caches do pinpoint
That's why you got
predictions of just those addresses.
freaking Avengers movie
The best
PS4.
thing is, as a game developer, when you read from the SSD, you don't need to know any of this. You don't even need to know.
Ratchet
if
and
your
Clank
data is
PS5,
compressed.
you right?
You
Yo, that's
just
gonna be lit.
indicate what data
I'm looking
Naruto
at
Ultimate
Twitter.
Ninja Storm. I'd
Original
play that to be
uncompressed
honest.
file,
Probably better
where
than the
you want to
anime.
put it, and
The
whole
two reactions I'm
process
seeing
of
from
loading
Twitter
it
is, yo, I love this
happens
dude's voice. I feel like
invisibly
giving a
to you
lecture and
and at very
yikes.
high speed. Back to the
I'm just
dream.
seeing sleep
Thanks
memes.
to all of that surrounding hardware, our 5.5 gigabytes a second really should translate
is
into
been
something
so
like
cool.
100 times faster I/O than PS4, and allow the dream of no load
know,
screens
there you go.
and super fast streaming to become a reality.
Tron 3 game Disney,
Having said
please.
that, expandability of our SSD is going to be quite important. Flash is costly, and
talking
you may
about
very
SSD
well
for
want to
20
add
minutes.
storage to whatever we put in the console. Now, the kind of storage you need depends on how you're going to use it.
My
If you
Hero
have
What's
an
Justice
extensive
3?
PlayStation 4
Oh,
man.
shoot, I
and
missed
you'd like
that.
to
They're,
take
the
advantage
game
of
we want.
backwards compatibility
using
to play
16
those
gigs
games
of
on
RAM this
PlayStation
time.
5,
Yeah.
then a large external
That's
hard
good.
drive is ideal. You
It
can
means
leave
the
your games
console
on the
will
hard
do
drive and
more
play
stuff.
them directly from there, thus saving the pricier SSD storage for your PlayStation 5 titles, or you can copy your active PlayStation 4 titles to the SSD.
What games are you guys most
If your
excited
purpose
for
in
out of the
adding more
Xbox
storage is
Series
to play
1X?
PlayStation 5 titles, though,
Well, you want to see some
ideally
NAC
you would
console.
add to your SSD storage. We will be supporting certain M2
Octopath
SSDs.
Traveler
These are
surpasses 2
internal
million
drives
copies.
that you can
Game
get
now
the
on
open
sale for
market
half off.
and install in a bay in
Buddy.
the PlayStation 5. As for which ones we support,
new little
and
plan on
when, I'll get to
Xbox?
that in a moment. They connect through the custom
What?
I/O unit, just
I would like a new
our
Little Big
SSD
Planet in
does.
general,
So
however.
they can take
But
full
it
advantage
needs to
of
be
the
good.
compression,
Little Planet 3 was
Xbox gotta
garbage.
get
all the other features.
Xbox got to get Sony's IPs to have
Here's
games
the catch,
to play.
though. That
He said
commercial
Little Big
drive has
Planet
to
on
be at
Xbox.
least as fast as ours. Games that rely on the speed of our SSD need to
Hey, you have a
work
good one,
flawlessly
Nathan. Peace
with
out,
the
bro.
M2 drive.
PlayStation All
When I
Stars would be
gave
great
the
with their new
Wired interview
characters.
last year, I said that the PlayStation 5
let's
SSD
see
was
here.
The same
faster
characters.
than anything available.
5.5 gigabytes.
At the time, commercial M2 drives used PCIe 3.0, and 4 lanes of that cap out at 3.5
Yu
gigabytes a
Hakusho
second.
game following the
In other
anime from
words,
start to finish.
no PCIe 3.0 drive can hit the required spec.
Why do I feel like Sony's just talking
M2
and they don't
drives
even
with
got the
PCIe
console done yet?
4.0 are now in the market. We're getting our
They're still trying to
samples
come
and
come
seeing
together and put it together.
4 or 5 gigabytes a second from them.
Like, dang, bro.
By year's end, I
What else should
expect
we
there will
add?
be drives that saturate 4.0 and support 7 gigabytes a second. Having said that, we are comparing apples and oranges, though, because that commercial M2 drive will have its own architecture, its own flash controller, and so on. For example, the NVMe specification lays out a priority scheme for requests that the M2 drives can use. And that scheme is pretty nice, but it only has 2 true priority levels. Our drive supports 6. We can hook up a drive with only 2 priority levels, definitely, but our custom I/O unit has to arbitrate the extra priorities rather than the M2 drive's flash controller. And so the M2 drive needs a little extra speed to take care of issues arising from the
Or doesn't have anything big announced after
that commercial
FF7, right?
drive also
No,
needs to
that's not
physically
true.
fit inside of the bay we created in PlayStation
Not that we
5
know
for
of
M2 drives.
necessarily, but
Unlike internal hardware,
we know they're working
there's
on 2 other
unfortunately
Kingdom Hearts
no
games.
standard for the height
They're
of the
working
cable.
on.
And some
I
M2
think they did
drives
say
have
they're working on
giant
Final
heat
Fantasy
sinks. In fact,
16, or
some
that
of
it was
them
in the
even have their own
concepts.
fans. Right now, we're getting M2 drive samples and
mostly I have.
benchmarking them.
I hope it's an
various ways.
actual Final Fantasy
When
game.
games hit beta as they get ready.
Yeah,
for
I don't know. I have a
PlayStation 5
weird
launch
feeling it might be an
year-end, We'll
MMO.
also be doing some compatibility.
But 14's
tests
kind
to
of
make
driving
sure
right
that
now.
the architecture of
Yeah, I don't think
particular
they would
M2
do
drives
another
isn't too
MMO.
foreign for the games to handle. Once
But
we've
you mean
done
you
that
hope it's
compatibility
RPG?
testing, we should be able to start
Yeah.
letting you know which drives will physically fit
Oh, it's
and which drive
turn-based.
samples have benchmarked appropriately high in our testing.
Dark Road
It
isn't
would
one of
be
the 2.
great if that happened by launch, but it's likely to be a bit past it.
It's
so
one of the
please
3.
Hold off on getting that
think.
M2 drive.
If I have
until
my
I think-
numbers right, because they said that
Okay,
they
back
have
to our
2 new
principles.
teams working on the
Balancing
KH game.
evolution and revolution.
I don't think we're
is
getting a
essential.
Final Fantasy
This was
16 until they're
definitely a
completely
recurring
done with
theme
7
with the
Remake, because I don't think they want the 2 to clash.
We need
Yeah,
new
yeah.
GPU features and capabilities. If we only have
So
more
yeah, we'll
performance,
we'll
it's not
get
really a new
16 like
generation of console. Of
2025
course,
when they
many of
finally
these
finish 7.
capabilities result in more performance. That's part of why a PlayStation 5 teraflop is more powerful than a PlayStation 4 teraflop. But we aren't just looking for the performance. We also need the ability to do
Yeah,
something
them
with the GPU
teraflops.
that could not have been done before. And we need higher performance per watt. Every time we double the performance of some GPU component, we don't want to find out we've doubled the power consumed and the heat reduced. But at the same time, we have to make sure the GPU can run PS4 games. And we have to ensure that the
Backwards
architecture is easy for
compatibility.
developers to adopt.
Oh shoot!
For
We're talking about
PS4.
it?
Backwards
Yeet.
compatibility was
It's
handled
good.
masterfully.
They just
Finally
confirmed it for
confirmed.
PS4.
As a key need
Hold on,
throughout
I wanna
the
listen to
design
this.
process. As our solution to adding new features without blindsiding developers, we made sure that if there were new significant features, it would be optional to use them. The GPU supports ray tracing, but you don't have to use ray tracing to make your game. The GPU supports primitive shaders, but you can release your first game on PlayStation
Finally
5
some good
without
food.
making any use of them.
Oh my god.
Before I get into the capabilities of the GPU, I'd like to make clear 2 points that can be quite confusing. First, we have a custom AMD GPU based on their RDNA 2 technology. What does that mean? AMD is continuously improving and revising their tech. For RDNA 2, their goals were, roughly speaking, to reduce power consumption by re-architecting the GPU to put data close to where it's needed, to optimize the GPU for performance, and to add a new, more advanced feature set. But that feature set is malleable, which is to say that we have our own needs for PlayStation, and that can factor into what the AMD roadmap becomes. So collaboration
Bro,
is born.
if I can slide my PS2 disc in there and it works, they got
can be
it.
adopted into RDNA 2
Right.
and used broadly, including in PC GPUs.
I'm about to have a whole
If the
library. of
ideas
games.
are sufficiently specific to what we're trying to accomplish, like the GPU cache scrubbers I was talking about, then they end up being just for
I'm
us.
sliding Sonic
If
Heroes
you
on my
see
PS5.
a similar discrete GPU available as a PC card at roughly the same time as we release our console, that means our collaboration with AMD succeeded in producing technology useful in both worlds. It doesn't mean that we as Sony simply incorporated the PC part into our console. This continuous improvement in AMD technology
I think
means
them
it's
people are
dangerous
fake. They're
to
not
rely on
moving.
teraflops as an absolute indicator of performance.
moving.
And CU count should be avoided as well.
Hey, bro,
This is
why
important
you
to us
doing
because
Of
we're not like
CPUs, we
super
all
tech
understand this. The
crazy. We
PlayStation
just care
4
about
and
how the
PlayStation
console
5
looks,
each
but
have 8
there's a lot of
CPUs,
people out there who are
but
probably
never think
eating
that
this
meant
up.
Capabilities and performance are equal. It's the
Hey,
same
bro,
for
they got their
CU.
first point,
For
which
one
was
thing, they've
backwards
been getting
compatibility
much
for me.
larger over time.
Yeah.
Adding new features means adding lots of transistors.
I want PS3
In
to
fact,
be backwards
the
compatible the
transistor
most.
count
We
for
have,
a
we have a lot of
PlayStation 5
PS2 games
CU
that are like
is 62%
playable on
larger
current
than the
consoles,
transistor
not
count
like
for a
put the
PlayStation
disc
Wait,
in.
backwards compatibility?
Second, the PlayStation 5 GPU is backwards compatible with PlayStation 4. What does that mean?
I'm
One
sorry.
way you
Whew.
can achieve backwards compatibility is to put the previous
Alright, they got it.
console's
No, they
chipset
didn't
in the new
say that.
console, like we did
Oh,
with some
never
PlayStation
mind.
3s. But that's, of course, extremely expensive.
Oh,
better
that's
way is to
mint. Nah, never
incorporate any
mind.
differences in the previous console's logic into the new console's custom chips, meaning that even as the technology evolves, the logic and feature set that PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 4 Pro titles
don't
rely
care no
on
more, bro.
is still available in backwards compatibility
This ain't getting
modes.
cop day
One
one.
advantage of this strategy is that once backwards compatibility is in the console, it's in. It's not as if a cost down will remove backwards compatibility like it did on PlayStation 3. Achieving this unification of functionality took years of efforts by
Okay,
AMD,
so they just
as any
confirmed that we won't
roadmap
have to worry
advancement
about
creates
backwards
a
compatibility
potential
being
divergence
like
in logic.
gone as
Running PS4 and PS4 titles
as
with boosted
they get
frequencies
upgrades of
also
the
adds
PS5.
complexity.
Similar,
The
you know
boost
how
is
upgrade
truly
version of
massive this
PS3
time
didn't
around,
have
and
backwards
some game
compatibility.
code just can't handle it. Testing has to be done on
Yeah,
a
but it's
title
only for
by
the
title basis.
PS4.
Yeah.
Results are
That's pretty
excellent,
good, though.
We recently
That's
took
better
a
than
look at the
nothing.
top 100 PlayStation 4 titles as ranked by playtime, and we're expecting almost all of them to be playable at launch on PlayStation.
That's why I hate rumors and
Okay, they
leaks,
said
bro.
they said all of
With regards to new
PS4s.
features, as I said, our strategy was to
I mean, the
try to
main
break
rumor
new
was
ground,
just
but at the same
PS4. I
time
think
not
like
to
I think people
require
started getting
use of
super
the new
crazy when they
GPU
started claiming
capability.
PS2
For more than
3,
a
etc.
decade, GPUs have imposed a restriction on game
I heard people say
Software
not sure
handles
about
vertex
PS3, but
processing,
PS2
for the
and
most part,
PS1.
dedicated hardware is responsible
PS4,
for the
yeah,
triangles and
PS4
other
backwards
geometry
compatibility
that
is a thing, and it will be a thing throughout the
That
entire
means
console
it's
generation.
not
It's
possible to
confirmed.
do even basic optimizations, such as aborting processing of a
Xbox
vertex
Series
if all
X has backwards
geometry that
compatibility
uses
for
it
all their
is
consoles,
observed.
doesn't it?
PlayStation
Yeah.
5 has a
You can
new
play
unit
through
called the
60
Geometry
and
Engine, which brings handling of
some one
triangles
games,
and
I think,
other
or,
primitives under
well,
full
duh.
programmatic control.
I
As a
hate
game
the
developer,
naming
you're
of that
free to
console
ignore
so
its
much.
existence and use
Xbox
the
One.
PlayStation 5 GPU as if it were no more capable than the PS4 GPU, or you can use this new intelligence in various ways.
This will be unfortunate. That means we're going to be experiencing PS2, PS3 games by having to rebuy them digitally, similar to
More
PS4
complex
and
usage involves something called
mediocre
memory
versions.
shaders, which allow the
Nah,
game
they're
to
probably just gonna
synthesize
continue,
geometry on the fly as it's
freaking
being rendered. It's a
PlayStation
brand new
Now.
capability.
No, they're probably
Using
going to do
primitive
that, but
shaders on
there's
PlayStation
also a
5 will allow
PS2.
for
Like you're able to
odd
buy
looking
like those
textures,
games separately as
including
well,
smoothly
like
varying
Jack and
level of
Daxter,
detail, addition of procedural
San
detail
Andreas,
to
which are
close-up
technically
objects,
digital
and
ports
improvements
of the
to particle
PS2
effects
versions.
and other visual special effects. Another major new feature of our custom
As long as we
Ray
can
tracing.
GPU is ray tracing,
Yo,
using the
Minecraft
same
did
strategy
first?
as AMD's upcoming
I'm
PC
joking.
GPUs. The CUs
Can I still
contain
use my
a new
PS2 memory
specialized
cards?
unit called the intersection
What?
engine, which can
Nah,
calculate
bro,
the
you a couple
intersection of
decades
rays
late.
with boxes
Nah,
and triangles.
probably
To use
can't.
the intersection engine, first you build what is called an acceleration structure. It's
Yeah, that's
data
kinda-
in RAM that contains all of your
I
geometry.
mean, that's to be expected.
There's a
Like,
specific set of formats you can use. They're variations on the same
there'd be no
PVH
point
concept.
in doing that.
Then, in your shader program,
Have a
you
memory
use a
card
new
slot.
instruction that asks the intersection engine to check array against the BVH. While the intersection engine is processing the requested ray triangle or ray box intersections, the
many
shaders
members
are
do we
free
have
to
now?
do other work. Having said that, the ray tracing instruction is pretty memory intensive, so it's a good mix with logic-heavy code. There's of course no need to use ray tracing. PS4 graphics engines will run just fine on PlayStation 5, but it presents an opportunity for those interested. I'm thinking it'll take less than 1 million rays a second to have a big impact on audio. That should be enough for audio occlusion and some reverb calculations. With a bit more of the GPU invested in ray tracing, it should be possible to do some very nice global illumination. Having said that, adding ray-traced shadows and reflections to a traditional graphics engine could easily take hundreds of
Which
millions
PS3 and
of rays a
PS4
second,
games are compatible
and
with the
full
PS
ray
with
tracing
the
could take
PS5?
billions. How far can
PS3 I
we go?
wish
I'm
we
starting
have
to get quite
PS4
bullish.
games
I've already
compatible
seen
though.
a PlayStation 5 title that's successfully using ray tracing based reflections
PS5
in
title.
complex animated scenes with only modest costs. Another set of issues for the
didn't
GPU
even say the
involves
title.
size and frequency. How big do we
Why am I
make the
still here? 'Cause
GPU,
you wanna
and
see
what
that
frequency
box.
do we run it at? This is a
We're
balance.
not gonna see the
chip
box.
has a
Where's he gonna
cost, and
pull
there's
it
a
out
cost
from?
for whatever we use
we're
to
not gonna
supply
see the
that chip
box.
with power and to cool it. In general, I like running the GPU at higher frequency. Let me show you why. Here's 2 possible configurations for a GPU roughly of the level of the PlayStation 4 Pro. This is a thought experiment. Don't take these configurations too seriously. If you just calculate teraflops, you get the same number. But actually, the performance
Yeah,
is
like 20
noticeably
minutes.
different because teraflops is
Don't worry,
defined
guys.
by
If
the
this stream's
computational
too,
capability of the
if they
vector
don't show
computer.
none, we'll fight
That's
Yazora
just
before
one
the
part
stream
of the
ends.
GPU. There are a lot of other units. And those other units all run faster when the GPU frequency is higher. At 33% higher frequency, rasterization goes 33% faster. Processing the command buffer goes that much faster. The
Already
L2
Rich got the
and
buff if you wanna
other
see it.
caches
That was
have
cringy.
that much higher bandwidth. And so
But I respect it.
about the only downside is that system memory is
That's
33%
boss.
further away in terms of cycles. But the large number of benefits more than counterbalance
Hey,
that.
you know,
As a friend of mine says,
while
a rising
he's
tide
talking, I'm a
lifts all
shill.
boats.
So, if you guys
Also,
want
it's
to
easier to
become
fully
a member,
use
you can become
36
one for as
CUs in
easily
parallel
for as
than it is to
minimal.
fully
I'm
use
sorry, I'm
48
tired.
CUs.
As I
When
can't
files are
advertise.
small,
As
it's
$1
much harder to fill all
a
those
month. If we
CUs
reach our
with
member
useful
goal
work.
of 40 members
there's
on
a
the
lot
channel, we
to be
currently
said
have
for
24. If we reach
Assuming
our
you
goal
can
of 40
handle the
members,
resulting
we will
power and
do
heat
some
issues,
random
which, frankly,
playthrough on the
we
side. Right
haven't
now, I think I
always
want to
done
do a
the best
level
job.
1 Honey Spout
Part of the
only
reason for
run
that
of
is,
Kingdom Hearts, which
historically,
includes
our
the data
process for
battles and
setting CPU and
includes
GPU frequencies
Yazora
has
as
relied
well.
on
So if
some
you guys want to
heavy-duty
see that,
guesswork with regards to
that's
how
an
much
incentive for
electrical
you.
power
But
games
the
will
bigger
consume
incentive is,
and
you
how
know,
much
maybe you
heat
just
will
want to
be
support.
produced as a
you know?
result
Maybe we want to
inside
help
the
your boy
console.
out.
Power consumption varies a lot from game
you want to
game.
become a member,
When I
link below in
played
the
God of War on
description,
my PS4
or
Pro,
you
I know
can
the power consumption
click
is
the
high
link
just
while
by
posting
the
the
fan
chat.
noise. But power isn't simply about engine quality. It's
Also
about the
join the
minutia
Discord.
of what's being displayed and how. It's counterintuitive, but processing dense geometry typically consumes less power than processing simple geometry, which is,
power
I suspect,
consumption,
why
that's gonna be interesting.
Horizon's map screen, with its low triangle count, makes my PS4 Pro heat up so much. Our process on previous consoles
I
has
think
been to
PS
try to
now
guess what
better.
the maximum power consumption during
be
the
good.
entire console lifetime might be, which is to say, the worst case scene,
So it's
the
gonna
worst
sound like
case
a
game,
gun.
and prepare a cooling solution that we think will be quiet at that power level. If we get it right, fan noise is minimal. If we get
That's
it
what I
wrong,
got from
the
that.
console will be quite loud for the higher power games, and there's even a chance that it might overheat
Oh
and
yeah,
shut down.
this is the
if
thing
we
they
miss
actually need to
estimated
talk
power
about
too
because I
bad.
hear the sound of the PS4.
PlayStation 5 is especially challenging because the CPU supports 256-bit native instructions that consume a lot
I'm gonna
of
play
power.
KS3 crit
These
level
are
1
great
with all
here
broken
and there,
instructions.
but
Yes.
presumably only minimally used. Or are they? If we plan for major 256-bit instruction usage, we need to set the CPU clock substantially lower or noticeably increase the size of the power supply and fan. So, after much discussion, we decided to go with a very different direction on PlayStation 5. We built a GPU with 36 CUs. Mind you, RDNA 2 CUs are large. Each has 62% more transistors than the CUs we
sources
were
to
using on
Trader,
PlayStation
maybe.
4. So if we compare transistor counts, 36 RDNA 2 CUs equates to roughly 58 PlayStation 4 CUs. It is a fairly sizable GPU. Then we went with a variable frequency strategy for PlayStation 5, which is to say we continuously run the GPU and CPU in boost mode. We supply a generous amount of electrical power and then increase the frequency of GPU and CPU until they reach the capabilities of the system's cooling solution. It's a completely different paradigm. Rather than running at constant frequency and letting power vary based on the workload, we run at essentially constant power and let the frequency vary based on the workload. We then tackled the
sounds
engineering
kinda
challenge
dangerous.
of a cost-effective and high-performance cooling solution designed for that specific power level. In some ways, it becomes a simpler problem because there are no more unknowns. There's no need to guess what power consumption the worst-case game might have. As for the details of the cooling solution, we're saving them for our teardown. I think you'll be quite happy with what the engineering team came up with. So, how fast can we run the GPU?
Oh wait, so they
and
just
CPU
confirm we're
with
gonna
this
see it?
strategy? The simplest
no
approach would be
idea.
to look at the actual temperature of the
I don't know if
silicon
that's
die
what he
and
actually meant
throttle
by
the
that.
frequency on that basis.
Yeah.
But that won't work. It fails to create a consistent
Please don't
PlayStation
make him
5
stop.
experience. It wouldn't do to run a console slower simply because it was in a hot room.
PS4 sounds like a leaf
So rather
blower.
than
Yes,
look
it
at the
does.
actual temperature of the silicon die,
Sound
we look
like
at
a
the
leaf
activities
blower.
that the GPU and CPU are performing and set the frequencies on that basis, which makes everything deterministic and repeatable.
Yeah, what are your guys'
While we're
favorite
at it,
animes?
We also use AMD's Smart Shift technology and send any unused
Give me your-
power from the
give me your
CPU
top
to
three
the
animes.
CPU
Tiny as
so we can
possible.
squeeze out a few
I'm just
fixes.
bored, so I'm asking questions to entertain myself at
Benefits
this
of
point.
strategy are quite large. Running a GPU at 2 gigahertz was looking like an unreachable
It's like I also
target
don't
with
want
the
to
old
talk over
fixed
him too
frequency
much
strategy.
because like I don't want
With
to
this new
potentially miss
paradigm,
some.
we're able to run way over that. In fact,
This
we
game
have
look
to
good, bro.
cap the GPU frequency at 2.23 gigahertz so that we can guarantee that the on-chip logic operates
It's like
properly.
top 3, and y'all give me like
36 CUs
one.
at 2.23
My
gigahertz
Hero,
is
Attack on Titan
10.3
FMA,
teraflops. And we expect the
My
GPU to
Hero,
spend most of its
My
time
Hero,
at or close
FMA,
to
Doctor
that
Stone,
frequency
Cowboy
and
Bebop,
performance.
Fairy
Similarly,
Tail,
running the CPU
Shokugeki,
at 3 gigahertz
Your
was
Lie in
causing
April from
headaches with
Alchemist
the old
Brotherhood.
strategy.
Okay.
But now we can run
My
it
Hero,
as high
Bleach,
as
Fairy
3.5
Tail, Hitman
gigahertz.
Reborn,
In fact,
Dragon
it
Ball,
spends most of
Digimon.
its time.
Alright, so you guys all watch Shonen only.
That
Got
doesn't
it.
mean all games.
Except
will
the
be
one
running
guy
at
that said Your Lie in
2.23
April.
gigahertz and 3.5 gigahertz. When that worst case game arrives,
Hunter x
it will
Hunter,
run
Fate
at a
Zero,
lower
Utena.
clock speed, but not too much lower. To reduce power
Vinland
by
Saga.
10%, it
I
only
need to
takes
watch
a
Vinland
couple
Saga. I
of
see
percent
people gas
reduction
it up
in
a lot.
frequency, so I'd expect any downclocking to be pretty minor. All things considered, the change to a variable frequency
Oh yeah, Attack on
Reviews
Titan's
confirmed.
very good.
significant gains for PlayStation gamers.
What?
The final of our 3
Dreams
principles
confirmed?
was about finding new dreams. It's important for us on the hardware team to find new ways to expand or deepen gaming, and that's what led us to a focus on 3D audio.
How many of you have watched
As
Carol on
players, we
Tuesday in the
experience
chat?
the game through the visuals, through audio, and through the feedback we receive from the controller, such as rumble or haptics. Personally, I feel a game is just dead without audio. Visuals are, of course, important, but the impact of audio is huge as well. At the same time, the audio team on a game project has to do a lot with a little. For example, on PlayStation 4, there's fierce competition for the Jaguar CPU cores. Audio typically ends up getting just a fraction of a core. That's not much of a computational resource, particularly when you consider that the visuals run at 30 or 60 frames a second, but audio processing needs to happen at almost 200 times a second. So, it's been tough going making forward progress on audio with
You just
PlayStation
admitted
4,
that PS3's
particularly
audio
when
was better.
PlayStation 3 was such a beast when it came to audio. The SPUs in Cell were almost a perfect device for audio rendering. Simple pipelined algorithms could really take advantage of asynchronous DMA and frequently reached 100% utilization of the floating point unit. There's unfortunately nothing comparable on PlayStation 4. Probably the most dramatic progress in the PlayStation 4 generation has been with virtual
When
reality.
Batman
The
Arkham coming
PSVR
out.
hardware has its own audio.
Yeah, bro, where's
It
that
supports about
game?
50 pretty decent
That
3D
game
sound
gone,
sources.
dog.
And this provided
They
a
said in
hint as
September,
to
we
where
got
could
something
go
for
with
y'all.
audio, as well
I
as some
see you.
valuable experience.
Batman got that.
Not to oversimplify,
I'm not gonna make that joke.
but
in the
here
chat.
were our goals for audio on PlayStation 5. The first goal was great audio for everyone, not just VR users or soundbar
Peace,
owners. or
Cam, I
headphone
understand.
users. That meant audio had to be part of the console. It couldn't be a peripheral. The second goal was to support hundreds of sound sources. We didn't want developers to have to pick and choose.
This show
what
only
sound
lasts
to
like
get
a
through
little
the
less than
text
20 more
and
minutes,
language.
guys.
We wanted every sound in the game to have dimension.
Nah, we got 10 minutes.
And finally, we wanted to really take on the challenges of
You're right.
presence and locality. Now, when we say presence, we mean the feeling that you're actually there. You've entered the
technically, like,
matrix. It's not, of
15
course, something we thought we could perfectly achieve.
Premiere
But the
countdown.
idea was that if we stopped using just a rain sound and instead used lots of 3D audio sources for raindrops hitting the ground at all sorts of locations around you, then at some point your brain would take a leap and you'd begin to have this feeling of real presence inside the virtual world of the game. This has the capacity to affect your appreciation of the game, just like music in a game does. The concept of locality
No
is
backwards
simple.
compatibility.
It's just your sense of where
Well,
the
we have it
audio
for
is coming
PS4.
from. To the right of you, behind you, above you. This can immerse you further in the game, and it can
Well, I
also
think it's pretty
direct
good
Dead
considering.
Space?
the gameplay. To use Dead Space as an example,
Oh, yeah,
I
it
know,
is.
old school. You're fighting enemies in fairly
Wasn't wanna
dark,
play that.
spooky
P-
locations.
I think PS4
Back
backwards
in the
compatibility
day, if you
is.
played the game using the TV
I
speakers,
wish
you could
we
tell
had
that there
more,
was one
but
last
it's
enemy
enough
growling and
because
looking down,
PS4's
but it was
library is
difficult
pretty
to tell
freaking
quite where
huge.
that enemy was.
I
With
thought he
headphones,
was
you
smart
could tell that
buying
the
all these
enemy
old
was
games.
somewhere on the right, which lets you deduce, if you couldn't see
Oh,
it,
is he doing
that
that?
it must be somewhere behind.
Yeah, he
and to
was
your
buying
right.
like PS3 two
But with
games that
3D
were on
audio
the
with good locality,
PS4.
the idea is you know the enemy
GTA
is
stuff.
precisely there, and you turn and you take it out. So, how do we know where a sound is coming from in the first place? Well, all those bumps and folds in the ear have a meaning, evolutionarily speaking. Based on what direction the sound is coming from, sound waves bounce around inside the ear, there's some constructive and destructive interference, and the result is a change in volume. The phase of the sound also shifts, depending on what path the sound wave took to reach the ear canal. These volume
the
changes
PS4
and
itself does
phase
not have
shifts
backwards
are
compatibility,
different for each
but the
direction and
PS5
also
will have
vary
backwards compatibility
depending on
with
the frequency
PS4.
of the
So
sound.
you will be able to
Head
play
size and head
PS4
shape
games
also
on the
impact the sound in
PS5.
a similar fashion. The way that the
I don't
sound
know what I'm
changes
gonna
Which
play.
means
based on
all the
direction
KH games are on
and frequency
PS5,
can be
so
encoded in a table
yeet.
called the head-related transfer function, or
Eunice.
HRTF.
Eunice.
Here's part of one. The vertical axis is
The
the frequency.
crossplay though.
The horizontal
That's a good
axis
question.
is the direction
That
from
probably
left
will
to
be,
right,
'cause
and the color gives
should
the
be, right?
degree of
Remember the
attenuation
last,
of the sound.
oh,
at that
Eunice. Remember you could play with people on
the
PS2.
HRTF
Yeah, no, I
is
mean,
as
not just like
unique
that,
to
but
an
like
individual
games
as
that
a
are
fingerprint
like
is. In
ported
fact,
over.
You're looking at
or
mine right now.
Backwards
I mean, it
compatibility.
should
Would
Here's how
be
we
the same
measure
service,
an
right?
HRTF. We've
think
taken
so,
hundreds
yeah.
of people through this process. We put a microphone in the subject's left and right ear canals, and then sit the subject
Bro,
down
what he
in the middle
doing?
of an array of 22 speakers. We then play an audio sweep from each speaker as we rotate the subject. In the course of 10 or 20 minutes, we're able to sample the HRTF at over 1,000 locations. Using an HRTF when rendering audio
I think every
creates unparalleled
major like
quality,
Sony
but
and
it's
Xbox console from now
computationally
on
expensive.
should be backwards
The
compatible
simplest way to
because
use an
the
HRTF is
leaps
to
and
process
gaps
the sound
between
source to
power
make it
is
appear
not
as if
that
it's coming
great
from one of
anymore
those 1,000
compared to like
locations we sampled.
PS2, PS3,
Unfortunately, the
PS4.
processing has to be done in frequency domain rather than time domain, so there's multiple fast Fourier transforms needed for every sound source, for every audio tick. That's a lot of multiplies. This computational complexity was the determining factor for
What's
our
your
strategy.
Twitter?
It
It's
meant
in the
we had to
description.
bite
It's
the bullet
Prodigy
and design
XCD.
and build a
Just like
custom
my,
hardware unit
YouTube.
for 3D audio. Collectively, we're referring to the hardware unit and the proprietary algorithms we run on it
I don't
as
think they're showing the console.
Tempest 3D Audio Tech. The meaning of 3D
People ought to be
audio
mad.
and technology should be
I
pretty
knew
obvious
they weren't
here.
going to show the
As
console.
for Tempest, I feel it really reflects our goals with audio. It suggests a certain intensity of experience.
We have
and
backwards
also
compatibility
hints at your
confirmed though. That's at
presence
least one
within.
thing we got.
We're calling the hardware unit that we built the Tempest engine. It's based on AMD's GPU technology. We modified a compute unit in such a way as to make it very close to the SPUs in PlayStation 3. Remember when I said that they were ideal for audio? So the Tempest engine has no
Need Persona
caches,
5
just
Arena,
like an
damn it.
SPU. All data access is via DMA, just like an SPU. Our target was that it would have more power than a CPU, thanks to the parallelism that a GPU can achieve,
Yeah,
and that
we
it would be more
probably get a
efficient
new
than our
GTA
GPU,
game.
thanks to the SPU-like architecture. The goal
GTA
being
vibe
to
making
make
too much
possible
money.
near
We haven't had a new
100%
GTA game in a
utilization
while
of
when
the
you think about it. Like, it's been
CU's
longer than
vector
it usually is.
Where
Like,
we
it's
ended up
2020.
is a unit with roughly the
GTA,
same SIMD power and bandwidth as
GTA
all
came
8
out.
Jaguar
GTA
cores
5
in
came out in
PlayStation 4
2013,
combined.
12, I
If we were
think,
to
right?
use the same
Like I
algorithms
said,
as PSVR,
they don't need to
that's
make a
enough
new
for
one.
something like
GTA 4 came
5,000
out in
sound
2008.
But of course, we want to use more complex algorithms, and we don't need anything
was only
like
4
that number
years.
of sounds.
It's been like
It would have
8
been
years.
wonderful if a simpler strategy, such as using Dolby Atmos peripherals, could have achieved our goals, but we wanted 3D audio for all, not just those with licensed soundbars or the like. Also, we wanted many hundreds of sound sources, not just the 32 that Atmos supports. And finally, we wanted to be able to throw an
10%
overwhelming amount of processing power at the problem. And it wasn't clear what any peripheral might have.
it's more likely
inside
that
it.
Bully's going to come out though
In
instead
fact,
of GTA
with the Tempest engine,
6.
we've even
Bully
got
2.
enough power that we can allocate some to the games, to the extent that games want to make use of convolution reverb and other algorithms that are either computationally
My eyes,
expensive
no RPG
or
will ever
need
beat
high
Kingdom
bandwidth.
Hearts.
But the primary
I mean,
purpose of the Tempest
I'd
engine
agree with you,
remains 3D
but
audio.
Octopath,
Now, 3D audio
Octopath beats
is
like
a major academic research
at least
topic.
like
It's
3 or
safe to
4
say
of the
that
Cage
no
games
one in the world
I
has
used
all
to
of
love.
the answers. And the set of algorithms that has to be invented, tuned, or
I think
implemented
Octopath's
to
better than
realize our
most
vision for 3D
non-number
audio
Cage
whole
titles.
demo?
is immense.
That was mid.
For example, use of
Oh.
HRTFs in games is quite complex. Before, I talked about making a sound source appear as if it's coming from one of those 1,000 HRTF sample locations. But for high-quality 3D game audio, we have to handle other possibilities. The sound source might not be at one of the 1,000 HRTF sample locations, so we have to blend the HRTF data from the closest locations that we have sampled. The sound source might be moving, which needs very special handling as that blend keeps changing, and that can cause phase artifacts in the resulting audio. Or the sound source might have a size to it, meaning it should feel as if it's coming from an area rather than a single point. There's also whole categories of approaches to be handled. 3D audio can be implemented using
Why can't they tell us
individual
everything it
processing of
has,
3D
but they
sound
can't show
sources.
it to us?
But alternatively, ambisonics can be used for 3D audio. Ambisonics being somewhat like the spherical harmonics used in computer graphics. And finally, there's audio devices. The player might be using headphones or TV speakers or have a higher-end surround sound setup with 6 or more speakers,
Hello,
all of
Mercury.
which need different approaches.
They did not show it
That's
off
a
yet.
lot of variations. It's nice to have the computational resources of the Tempest engine.
Yeah,
but
they
it's
did
clear that
say they
achieving our
wanted to do
ultimate
a
goals with 3D audio is
system
going to be a
specs
multi-year,
dive.
step-by-step process. Having said that, headphone audio implementation is largely complete at this time.
I mean, I feel like this
It
is
was
something
a
that would have been
natural
more
place for us
interesting to
start.
read
With
than to see,
headphones, we can
but
tell exactly what each ear
But I
hears,
know there's a lot of people
and
eating
therefore
this
the
up.
algorithmic
For me,
development and
I'm already
implementation
sold on
are
the
more
PS5
straightforward.
just off a name alone, I
For
guess.
TV
So
speakers and stereo speakers, we're in the
this
process
might
of
not be for
implementing
someone like me.
virtual surround sound. The idea being that if you're sitting in a sweet
Okay,
spot
never
in
mind. That
front
wasn't the
of
end
the
of the
TV,
demo. I was about
then
to
the
say.
sound can be made to feel as if it's coming from any direction, even behind you. Virtual surround sound has a lot in common with 3D audio on headphones, but it's more complex because
You love
the
science
left
class?
ear can hear the right speaker and vice
sure
versa.
This
We have a
part reminds
basic
me of Dragon
implementation of
Quest.
virtual surround sound up and running. We're now looking at increasing the size of that sweet spot, which is to say, making the area you need to be in to feel the 3D effect larger.
I get
And
scared
we're
when a
also
company
working to
releases
boost the
demos.
sense of
'Cause I'm
locality.
scared of it being leaked.
Headphone audio is
But
the
I'm not in
current
the
gold
trials of
standard
Mana
for 3D
community, so it
audio on
doesn't
PlayStation
matter
5,
for me.
But we're going to see what we
Yeah,
can
it's
do to
not that
bring
big of a
virtual
deal.
surround sound to a similar level, after which we'll start in on
Seven
settings
got-
with more
seven got
speakers,
leaked
such as 6-channel.
Dumb hard. One.
It's now to the point where some
Before
of the
their demo
PlayStation
even
5
leaked, when
games
they
in
even-
development
when
are
PlayStation even
extensively
listed
using
it.
these systems. One of the game demos allows
Well,
you
this
to
game about
toggle
to drop
between
in a month, so-
conventional PlayStation 4 style stereo audio and our new
I know, but
3D
still,
audio.
leaks just suck in
I
general.
listened with just
That's
an
why, like, I'm
ordinary
fine
pair
with
of
waiting for the full
over-the-ear
game to
headphones,
release, you
and
know?
Wow, I could feel it.
I'm not necessarily
3D audio
anti-demo,
has that
but it's like I think
conventional
the
feel
risk
to it.
isn't always
Conventional
worth it.
Well,
stereo
I
audio
don't know, for a
feels
game like
smashed
this-
flat by comparison.
Well, literally,
Yeah,
I
it's
don't
like remakes like
It's
7 and
So,
Trials.
a big advancement, but
Might be a
have
little
no.
I
later.
entered the Matrix? Does my
Well,
brain
not just that,
believe
this is
I'm
like-
really there?
I'm
Like I
playing
was
this game to
talking
see if
about
I like it.
earlier when I
Yeah,
explained
yeah.
Or
our
I buy
target
it.
of presence.
I was
Well,
gonna
the
buy
answer
7
is
regardless.
No, but you've probably caught on to what's missing here, namely whose HRTF was being used. It wasn't mine, it was the default HRTF. The audio team analyzed the hundreds that they measured and chose the one they felt was the closest fit to the total game playing audience. This shows a piece of the default HRTF on the left and my HRTF on the right. You can see that the general features are much the same, but the details
Dead Cells will
are
be on
quite
PS5. It will. It's on PS4.
with the default HRTF, as I said, the 3D audio sounds pretty great. When I use my
You said Dead
HRTF,
Cells?
though, the audio
Yeah.
reaches a higher level of realism, which is to say that when using headphones and my HRTF, I occasionally get fooled and even think a sound is coming from the real world when it's actually coming from the game. A corollary to this is that there are
Ooh,
a
a
few people
counter.
whose HRTFs are sufficiently far from the default HRTF, that's the red dot here, that they can toggle between PS4 style and PS5 style audio and not sense much difference. I've had a few people describe the PlayStation 5's 3D audio as sounding like a bit better stereo audio. Presumably they're the ones at the very edges of this diagram. Which means what HRTF you're using is key. I'd like everyone to be able to experience what I'm experiencing, but obviously it's not possible to measure the HRTF of every PlayStation
Yeah, Dead
user.
Cells is pretty fun.
That means HRTF selection and synthesis are going to be big topics going forward as the Tempest technology matures. At PlayStation 5 launch, we'll be offering a choice of 5 HRTFs. There's a simple test where you pick the one that gives you the
5
best locality.
HRTFs.
That's just the first step, though. This is an open-ended research topic. Maybe you'll be sending us a
Said
photo
sending
of
a
your
video
ear,
of your
and we'll
ears. What
choose
is he
a
talking
neural
about?
network to pick the closest HRTF in our library. Maybe you'll be sending us a video of your ears and your head, and we'll make a 3D model of them and synthesize the HRTF.
What?
Maybe you'll play an audio game to tune your HRTF. We'll be subtly changing it as you play and home in on the HRTF that gives you the highest score, meaning that it matches you the best. This is a journey we'll all be taking together over the next few years. Ultimately, we're committing to enabling everyone to experience that next level of realism. Hopefully, I've been able to illustrate a bit about our design and decision-making process today.
Because he said, now comes the fun part.
PlayStation 5 has the feature set that it does. Now comes the fun part. We get to see how the development community takes advantage of that feature set. I'm hoping for the completely unexpected. Will it come from audio, ray tracing,
so we got
the capabilities of the SSD,
one thing we got out of it is something we already suspected.
I guess we'll find out soon enough.
Backwards compatibility.
Thank you for your time today.
I wasn't tired before, but I think I'm tired now.
I'm drifting in purgatory. Video done playing. Yep. Alright. Well, that was that. Alright. Hold on. I'll fight the Zora before we dip. Okay. Bro, that was trash.
I ain't gonna call it trash. It just wasn't what I personally cared to hear.
It wasn't for me. For me. I mean, they're going to reveal it. It's not like they're not going to reveal the stuff. I guess it wasn't now. I mean, to be honest, this was pretty sudden, anyways.
Well, they need to reveal it soon, but I'm hoping by June, because literally you gotta show people what they're buying before November.
PS4 Alright, I must have fight. Alright, before we end off the stream, I might stream later today. We're going to fight Yozora now on level 1. We'll do that on level 1 later. But I'm going to fight Yozora as like the stream ender, so you guys can look at something and we can talk about the PS5 stuff while we're doing that. So, what do you guys think overall? I'm glad they confirmed backwards compatibility for PS4. That is something I'm happy about. I wonder if it will work for digital games. I'm going to assume it will, because I own mostly digital games.
Yeah. Yeah, I play Red Dead on my PS5.
Oh, that should be fun.
I hope the games get like upgraded.
Right.
Like a game like Spider-Man PS4, it'd be cool seeing that at 60 instead of 30.
Yeah, it would. I agree. Anyone else but me play Dead Cells? I play Dead Cells. I haven't been in it, but I play it.
I remember everyone bought that game because of that review.
Wait, hold on, what? Wait, I missed that point? I think I missed something.
What?
No. Oh, hold on. I need to confirm that somewhere else, because that's true. That's a yikes, because I saw someone just tweet, given it was Kyle, I saw tweeted saying only 100 games are going to be available for PS4 at launch.
When did they say that?
I don't remember them saying that. I don't know.
I mean, if you got your PS4 games, then technically you got more than 100.
backwards compatibility is like super duper important, but I don't think it's gonna be. I think that what's it called? I don't know. Xbox has backwards compatibility to this console generation. Sony's still pretty much one. I don't think it's gonna be. It would definitely help the console sell even more.
As well.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna like. Well, we'll do a data fight and we'll do Yazora. So what data fight do you guys want to see me do? I don't think it's gonna break the console not doing backwards compatibility. You know what I mean? Even though I freaking want it. I want it super bad.
The thing with Xbox though, they did it late, and on top of that, not all of their games are available for it because you gotta put the disc in and it downloads the game. That's mid.
Yeah. They said it was completely like it worked. They said that PS4 hardware archetype. Yeah, so I don't understand. Where'd Kyle get that from, dog? He's the only one I saw tweet that.
I mean, you can just slide the disc in. There's no putting the disc in to download it and
play
exactly. It from the Xbox. Like that's mid.
Because he said, hold on. Yeah, that is the weird thing. Night Sky just tweeted something perfect. Like, why was this event advertised to the public consumer?
It was supposed to be at GDC.
Yeah, that makes sense. I don't know. I guess should we give them like, because this is like a GDC type of thing. Should we give them the benefit of the doubt and like,
I mean,
be super critical?
Sure.
I don't know.
I don't like the way it was advertised though.
I don't either. But it was basically is because it was canceled. Because we probably would have ended up watching it if it was a GDC event too.
It would have been.
Probably would have thought the same thing, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, so what data fight you guys want me to do? Xemnas? I see a lot of Xemnases just at first glance.
Someone said Sony messed up big time. How'd they mess up?
They didn't mess up big time. I mean, they don't. Cause like, look, the second they tweet out on Twitter, we're revealing the console. We're gonna watch it again. We're gonna slander it now, but like, we're gonna watch it again. You know we are.
That presentation we just watched?
No, I mean like if they made a tweet or an announcement saying we're gonna announce the console and some games, we're gonna be there watching.
Oh yeah,
regardless. Or even if it's another vague announcement like this. I was skeptical about watching this because I kind of had a feeling it wasn't gonna be anything super crazy, but I woke up and I was like, you know what, just in case, you know, because like I hate waking up late to an event and finding out there's something I missed and like I'm already spoiled on it and I can't react to it live, you know. All right, I will do Xemnas. And I'll run Oathkeeper Keeper Kingdom Key. Oh no, I won't. Come on, Kingdom Key, Crystal Snow. There we go.
Where's it safe? Hold on, bro.
Background good, dog? Alright. Happens. I'm gonna keep Thunder on. But, what do you guys think, like, about it? I'm underwhelmed. I'm not mad. I'm underwhelmed. That's the best way to describe it. die. We're gonna die. Ah!
No escape.
Alrighty. So you guys want me to do your Zor after this, right? Okay. I'm freaking garbage.
Be gone.
Kids never have them.
No
I feel like that.
escape.
Okay, I'm garbage.
I banish.
Ah, I'm so terrible. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so bad. Okay. I'll give this another go. Yeah, that event wasn't for the public consumer. That was the issue with that. That was the only issue with that. It wasn't really bad. I mean, I know I'm probably gonna end up watching Review Tech USA, and he'll make that way more entertaining than like they did.
Alright, well, I'm probably gonna dip. I'll probably
Okay.
be back on later.
Alright, bro. You have a good one. Appreciate you coming out.
See you, chat.
To the voice.
Oh, that was a oof.
No escape.
I almost blocked too early. I hate when Xemnas whiffs attacks.
Be gone. Leaving first. I banish.
Ah, those whipped around and hit me. I'm upset. Alright, I think I'm just gonna do Yazor because I'm not as good at this fight. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Or we could do another data fight because I'm not that great at this one. Let's see. What's another one we could do? I think I do usually have that on Square now that I like think about it. Go with Syax. Alright, vote another data fight for me to do. I don't know, I can beat that one. I'm acting like I can't. Syax, Marluxia. You can do Marluxia. Take it easy, Marluxia.
I'll scatter you to the wind. Ready? Fall! Take this! Back off! Settle down! Fall!
Marley's definitely one of my favorites. Easily.
Ready? Ready?
Are you serious?
So long! Settle down! Ready? Ready? Back off!
I think it's before he does that. Oh my gosh, I'm so underprepared.
The end is nigh.
Oh my gosh, I'm so bad. I know how to deal with this, right?
There's no. Got him.
I didn't fully charge it. What?
Ready? Ready? Settle down. Ready? Ready? Fall.
I'm so terrible. Okay, I think I'm like trying to do like fire strats when I shouldn't be. I should just play. What's up ever after on? Alright, let's go again. Now I gotta show you this next data grading episode I came up with in Discord. Go ahead, post it.
Ready? Yeah. Take this. Fall. Settle down. Ready? Settle down. Ready? Ready? Back at it. Ready? Back off.
I don't know why I don't have counter impact on.
Ready?
Okay.
Ready? Go. Here we go. Settle down. It's over. Settle down.
You have counter impact on. I feel like that attack has to be punishable. Really? Well, what is this? I've never seen him do that move into that move.
It's time to back off. Settle down. Ready? Ready? Back off. Settle down. Settle. So long. is nigh.
I think it's 4, then a fire, I believe. Alright. 1, 2, 3, 4. Whatever. Ah, I'm so bad. Okay. It's 5, then a fire. My bad. 5, then a fire. Alright, we'll try again. Good that I can't just come back to these and beat them for free though. I was trying to end the DM early. That's what I was trying to do. I could have just waited and be patient. Well, I know damage is fired at some point.
There's no hope for you. Ready? Back off. Ready? Ready? Take this. Ready? Ready? Fall. Back off. Settle down. Settle down. Blade. Try this. Ready? Back at you. Fall. Take this. Settle down. Fall. Back off. Settle down. Ready? Ready? Nice. Ready?
I'm annoyed.
Back off. Ready? Back off. Back at you. Over here. So long. There.
just want to put him into DM phase. There we go. So 5, then fire, alright? Remind me, 5, then fire. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 blocks, my bad. Whatever, we're just gonna do it normally. Whatever. 5 blocks in a fire. Alright. Got it. I'll remember that for next time. 5 blocks then a fire. Whatever, well, we beat Marluxia. Now let's do Yozora. Alright, you have a good one, Dusty Human. I appreciate you coming out. That was kind of a terrible, sloppy match, but it is what it is. Alright, now we'll do Yozora. Oh boy, it's already 1 o'clock. Gotta add today's video. Wait, this... I'm an idiot. Why did I choose my level 1 file? Hold on, I did not mean to do that. We gotta restart the game. Did not mean to do that whatsoever. I'm not ready to do them on level 1 yet, and I want to dedicate a whole live stream to that. Rather than doing it on a whim. Is this even the right file? I don't know if this is the right file. Oh, it's whatever. Made that seem easy, did I? Alright, Yozora time, then we'll end off the stream. I appreciate you guys sitting through all of that with me, though. Do you guys want me to live stream later? 'Cause I will if you guys want me to. Whatever, we'll blow all of our elixirs. I don't really care. Just remind me I have the elixir customized. Think you're feeling better now? Yeah, I've been feeling good most of this week, I'd say.
You're done. Got this. You're done. There. Let's go.
What a pain.
Break. Over here.
Nice try. Shall we?
Back off.
Nope. There. No chance. There. Nope. No chance. Nice try. Nope.
Yeah. So long.
What a pain.
This'll do it. Now.
I almost whiffed and hit me.
Nice try. You lost.
Now. Back off. So long.
He's gonna DM now.
I don't think so.
I don't think so. Alright, guard, guard. Dodge, dodge.
I don't think so.
Why am I so bad? Oh, shoot. I don't know why I'm bad at dodging that. Forget it's the blue laser first.
Here. Ready for this?
This GM's pretty hard.
Let's go.
This'll do it. This'll do it.
Nice.
This'll do it.
Take this.
That's absolutely insane. One, two, three, four, block. Alright, this is how I'm going to deal with this, because I'm a lazy bum. Oh, what?
Got this.
What?
Break.
It is a weird pattern.
No chance.
we're dead.
Got this. You're done. Got this. There. There. Now. I don't think so.
How? This is gonna suck.
Now.
Alright, there we go. Yo, alright, we beat Zora. That kind of sucked because my Blizzard Claws ran out. I'm a little tired.
I guess that my powers aren't needed yet.
That wasn't too bad, but I feel like I could have done way better. I'm mad I had a Kupo coin equipped and mad that I lost it.
Never mind.
Yeah, massive improvement from the 7+ hour live stream. Technically a first attempt. Part of me wants to do another attempt of that.
Commander.
Impressive, is it not?
That boy Luxord.
I've been
having these weird thoughts lately.
like, is any of this for real or not? None of this makes sense to me.
An oath to return. Alright, guys. That was that. I might stream later today. I might try level 1 Yozora later today. But if you guys enjoyed today's live stream, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, all that good stuff. Stay safe out there, please. Like, be healthy. I don't want any of my viewers getting infected by that virus going around this pandemic. Stay indoors, stay safe, minimal contact, social distancing, all that good stuff. Make sure to be safe, guys. But I am going to try my best to stay safe. I was kind of worried last week when I was sick that I had it, but I don't think I do because I feel a lot better now. So yeah, but thank you guys so much for coming out to today's live stream. If you guys want to continue, I cannot speak. I'm sorry, I'm running off for 4 hours of sleep because I woke up for that boring PlayStation event. But if you guys want to continue the conversation, go ahead and join the Discord server, link down below in the description, and Nightbot's going to post a link for you as well. That's going to be about it though. Thank you guys for watching. My name is Prodigy, and I will see you guys maybe later. I should have a video out today. If I don't have a video out today, I will definitely live stream. But if I do have a video out today, then maybe don't expect the stream, but we'll see. Expect something from me later today within the next couple of hours. So keep the notifications on, and I will talk to you.